So that takes us to item number 3, which is consider an act on request for adjustments or relief from charges.
Nor do I.
Thank you. Okay, the consent agenda is items 4 through 7. We have the October meeting minutes, financial reports, tax collectors reports, and ongoing approval for attendance and expenses. Anybody have questions, comments, corrections on minutes or any of these other consent agenda routine items?
I got one question on page 3. Talks about the study UH did. They, the ministry reflected they were preparing a preliminary PowerPoint. Is that PowerPoint available yet?
Well, no.
Okay.
I'm trying to get it. I've got a Zoom meeting. I offered to meet with them tomorrow morning between 10 and 11 to try to break through that
Okay.
task to get it submitted.
I see with the groundwater conservation district making statements. This might become more important. So,
Indeed.
Are they taking exception?
oh, you haven't read the package yet?
No, I'm just kidding. I know exactly what they've done. I have if I could say, because I know I was supposed to talk about the USGS had a Woodlands Green presentation, and I was absent last time. They had that presentation. We had like 65 folks log on. And it, basically shows what it usually shows. Those places that haven't quit pumping are continuing to lower their levels. Those places that have converted, like North Harris County Regional Water Authority, they're all coming up due to the conversion. The next one's due in 2025, I guess, for the rest of North County. But because it was USGS, I asked them if I could put it on the website. And I was asked to get, they have to do a lot of
Can I
in-house
just make a
stuff.
quick comment? We have that for item 10.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The U-
I thought that was
USGS.
last time.
Well, we bumped it to this time.
Oh, you were gonna ask me anyway. I was trying to get it out of the way. I'm sorry. I'll save that last
No,
bit.
no, we don't want you to rush through it. We want
Well,
good
at the
stuff.
end, I'll just say, because it's closing quickly, that after a month, they gave me permission yesterday to go ahead and post the whole PowerPoint because it had contained some new information that they wanted to clear. So within a couple of days, that'll be on the Woodlands Green website, the entire video of the PowerPoint that the man Jason did. So sorry for being out of turn, but one less item you got to cover now.
Okay, back to the consent agenda. Any further questions, comments on those regular routine items?
I'm good.
Okay, anybody like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda? Stephanie made that motion and I will second it. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to item 8 for our update from the SJRA.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I apologize, our financials didn't make it into your packet this month, so I'll put the information in each one of your seats. Operationally, I don't have anything else to add. If there's any questions for me. Ed has some updates for you.
So the increased revenue is just tied to selling all our water.
Yes, sir.
Are you guys surprised at October's numbers up so much?
No. I mean, it was dry. It was dry. The rain we've gotten just hasn't quite been what they talked about getting. We're still pretty dry.
Any other questions?
Ed?
Strategic plan, you have 2 handouts in front of you. One is this bar chart, and then the other is this. We'll start with the bar charts. We've talked about doing a all mud director presentation on November 29th. We bring all the directors up to speed, what's going on with the stakeholders. we're setting that aside and proposing to do that in early January so that we can bring more complete information to the MUD directors as they get ready to deliberate on which alternative they want to consider. So next stakeholder meeting is December 13th. We'll have the recap with all the MUD directors early January. We'll have another stakeholder meeting on January 10th. We'll go into the MUD meetings and bring information to you all to tell you about the different options, costs, and what the stakeholders are considering. And then you'll have January and the February meeting to consider it. In the February meeting, you will ask your trustee or direct your trustee on how each MUD would like to vote for the March meeting, because the March meeting is when we're going to be asking for a decision by the trustees on how to proceed on the strategic plan.
Will the stakeholders be making a recommendation or just they're helping you guys kind of formulate the
They're-
list of alternatives?
Right now, they've helped us narrow down from 9 options to 4.
Mhm.
And so we'll narrow it down even more,
Okay.
probably to 2. And then we'll come to the MUDs and say, here are the options, here are the costs, here's the schedule. Here are the basics.
These are the two preferred
Correct.
possibilities from the committee.
I mean, two things. Feedback is it's late to change the plan. I mean, it's already in the deck. There was an email sent out last week or 2 weeks
We
ago.
will send a notice canceling November 29th meeting.
I mean, it looks like we're not operating per plan.
Well, the reason we're doing this is so that we bring you more information, because at the 29th, we're not bringing new information. And there will be new information developed after the meeting.
It also seems like if we wait till January, you'll be bringing us the answer rather than bringing us an opportunity for discussion and input. It'll already be down to 2.
Correct.
Yeah,
But it's not the MUD director's job. Let me back up. It's your all's job to direct your stakeholder as to your preferences. It's not the MUD director's job to tell us, SRA, that we want to change the plan.
but the meeting was an opportunity for us to gather more information so we can be more
You're
informed.
gonna have that same meeting, but it's just gonna be in January.
It's going to be in January, but with more relevant information.
It'll be the same topic, same format, just moved out further and hopefully some better
And more
information.
complete information.
We've essentially pushed the whole schedule a month.
That's been the goal, is to make certain that you, and also give you adequate time to talk to us, talk to the stakeholder, and then direct your trustee on how you would like that trustee to vote. Otherwise, you'd only have 1 month to deal with it. Because originally the decision was going to be made in February. This gives you some added time. Okay. Okay. The other handout shows you the options that are that the stakeholders have narrowed down. So the first option is a repair and replacement with MBR at wastewater treatment plant number 1. And you can see by the different colors in the legend off to the left-hand side, the basic timing for those improvements. This does show that everything would be built to the east of the existing plant on new property.
Is that property already available?
It would have to be acquired. And we'd have to purchase it from private ownership.
Any reason to think that would be contentious?
I guess Kyle is probably a 50-50. Some may be willing to sell, some may not be.
Mm.
Some of it may depend on,
There's no single family dwellings. It's all commercial,
there's a,
industrial type usage.
I think there's one residential commercial combination building up at the top.
Hmm.
And then you can see in the middle of the page, the facilities that have the hash marks through it as to what would be demolished and and the land recovered at some point. So on page 2,
So are we at 9 or we're at 4?
you're at 4.
Okay. And they're all MBR.
Yes, sir. So on page 2, it would be repair and replacement at wastewater treatment plant number 2, again, MBR technology. And this shows you the schedule, no new property. So it's a choice on how to do plant 1 and plant 2. And then page 3 is the conveyance. This is showing the elimination of 5 lift stations with a gravity line connecting those facilities to treatment plant number 1. Go to page 4. This is option 3C with membranes. Again, the color represent the basic timelines as to when things would accomplish. This also is showing improvements on new property and with the potential to consolidate wastewater treatment plant 2 at plant 1 at some later date. And there are two conveyance options associated with that scenario. One is an all gravity line from wastewater treatment plant 2 down to plant 1. And this would allow the elimination of 7 lift stations. Or a gravity force main combination. And we can still eliminate 5 lift stations on that. Then the new alternate was alternate number 9. This is a membrane installation at treatment plant number 1. Everything constructed starting in 2027. And then it considered a repair and replacement at treatment plant number 2, or at whatever time frame the directors in office at that time could make a decision on whether to consolidate or do repair and replacement at plant 2. At the time that you go to the very second to last page, that's very similar to the repair and replacement is similar to the second page on the timing. The biggest timing, because that plant is not as old as plant 1, for 2047 is the approximate time frame that major repairs and replacement would be needed at plant 2. And then conveyance option for that is like it was on the first one, gravity line and eliminating 5 lift stations. So those are the options that we are doing cost analysis on. You've heard Bob Lyle talk about sensitivity analysis on interest rates and inflation rates, bond interest rates. These are the options, scenarios that those sensitivity analysis were to do.
All these demo facilities
Yes.
where we get the land back, is that so that we can continue to expand, or what would we do with the land?
We might move more maintenance facility over there. It could become park. It would remain estuary property. Part of it's still in the floodplain.
So the 3C option, page 4, is that plan assuming that all of the plant 1 and 2 capacity would be moved to
Yes, sir.
that location at the same time?
No. Be 2 different timeframes, 2027 for the first phase and 2047, the green would be the second.
So it's all set in motion now, whereas that last option, the second, the plant 2 consolidation decision would be made at a later date.
Correct.
Okay.
That's the main difference. And this is after what, about an hour and a half worth of conversation. This is what the stakeholders came down to.
What would the trustees decide What will the trustees decide differently today with 3C as opposed to that last option where the plant 2 decision gets pushed out 20 years?
The main thing would be which conveyance system you chose on 3C versus alternate 9. Because if you don't consolidate plants 1 and 2 all at plant 1, you don't need to do all of the gravity lines shown on page 6 or 7, 8. No, back up. Page 5. Mine doesn't have page numbers on it.
So those.
So that heavy green line on page 5 on the left-hand side, that's an all gravity line from plant 2 to plant 1. If you did not consolidate all at plant 1, you would only do a gravity line up to where lift station 5 is shown.
That 48-inch one.
Correct. And that's why that is the direction in the future, a choice.
So I guess if cost wasn't an issue, you definitely want the gravity line, right? Seems like a little brainer.
That is correct.
These all, so you've only presented us with 3 options here. You said there's a 4th option?
Well, we said there were 4. It gets down to what happens on plant 2.
So everything that's on the table now not only includes MBR, but also includes expansion, buying property for plant 1.
Correct. Expansion, land acquisition, land expansion is on all options.
Would those property owners have any reason to even know this is in discussion right now?
We've not made anything public other than what occurs in these meetings.
These are public meetings.
I understand.
Yeah, I mean, not that we're hiding it, but nobody's actually reached out to those people.
We've not officially talked to them because part of it is once a decision is made on which option to go forward with, that's when we would also ask for authorization to proceed with appraisal surveys and other activities associated with acquisitions. And there's a
I guess
legal process associated with that.
it's only fair to notify them, but if these lands are not platted, they can get that way between now and then, which would cost a lot of value. If it's not platted, I understand, or you just have to pay fair market value and appraise whatever the building's worth, et cetera. But if it's platted for 92-story condominium, that changes the reflection of.
Fortunately, they're not owned by Howard Hughes.
Right, well, and also they're right next door to a sewage treatment plant. And so,
That's what I'm saying. But I'm saying that you can't plat it after the fact and say, well, I was going to build this. You have to have the plat prepared and ready to go. And I guess I don't think there's any harm in telling them.
okay.
That's it on strategic plan. Other questions? On the infrastructure funding, Congress has not acted on the legislation that Congress should be proposing. That includes a $3.6 million for Bear Branch Dam. So we're still waiting there. The Bear Branch Dam concrete repairs, that project is complete and we're in a warranty period. And then the Bear Branch Dam low flow vault update. We have the contract documents, construction documents about ready to go. We talked to the vendor that would supply the hatch and they're saying a 15-week delivery time. So we're going to run going and selecting or seeking quotes for the project and go ahead and order the hatch simultaneously so that we can try and save some time. And that's what's going on with that. And then finally, on number 9, Spring Creek Detention Study. There was a meeting yesterday with most of the partners. Remember, there's a Walnut Creek detention and then the Birch Creek detention. Previously, the Birch Creek detention had been optimized to a smaller footprint. That had not been done on Walnut Creek. And the group decided that they wanted to go ahead and do the optimization on Walnut Creek for $30,000 and then evaluate from there as to whether it's worth trying to sit down with Rice and have some more conversation or have an initial conversation, because we haven't been able to talk to them at all. And then also talk to the developer on Birch Creek. So we're probably mid-January to late January before we have results from the optimization of Walnut Creek and any further conversation on.
There was a couple of comments made that it would be a shame really if we don't pursue some sort of joint use with that solar farm, because technically from an engineering standpoint, you could design it to be a retention basin and a solar farm. And to miss an opportunity not to just try to get that to happen would be disappointing and just.
And that was the basis for wanting to do the optimization study to see if they can, I'll say, downsize the basin.
I was there yesterday. I thought it was a good discussion, a lot of good information. So.
Anything else to add?
No, I mean, there's only 5 MUDs that are impacted by it, so it has a funding impact on us. I think most of the MUDs that were impacted were represented yesterday. So.
Everybody agreed to spend the 30,000 and move forward.
I mean, the key issue is we're asking people, I mean, we're going to put a request in somewhere upstream to make their land available for retention to help reduce flooding downstream. So I'm not surprised people are pushing back because they don't see the benefit. But, I think we need to continue to push, do the study and see what we can find, something that's a reasonable win-win for everybody.
Was anybody on the other side part of that discussion?
This is just the funding partners that help pay for the study.
I would say Bob from, was it MUD?
What?
No, the other Bob.
But one,
Yeah, he feels like we spent a lot of money. Nobody's strongly supportive from the land use standpoint. He seemed questioning, why are we doing this? But, I'm not surprised that people were saying, well, I'd really like to just develop my subdivision and not have any of my land be consumed by retention ponds. But we've got to do something.
Well, and the developer does have to do something with his drainage, and so does the solar farm. And so that's why.
Yeah, they have something to gain.
So just get a solar farm, just put their things up
Put a
20
pond
feet.
somewhere else.
They don't go that high. They're typically 5 or 6 feet off the ground.
I know, but if you tried to do a dual use, you could maybe put it on taller towers so that you could be above any flooding if it was used for something like that,
That's what
theoretically.
we've tried to talk to them about, and they've been very reasonable.
Seems plausible anyways. Okay,
That's all I've got on items 8 and 9.
which brings us to item 10, which is the USGS data. Paul, would you like to add anything to
I would like to
consent
say
agenda comments?
the USGS data is annual, obviously. But I think one of the things that I asked that they show is that any given year, the difference can be either minuscule or it can go up. Because it's been a wet year and the pumpage was down. So from year to year, it might do that. So what I've always asked them to do is go back 5 and 10 and 15 and 20. Because even though it may have come up this year, it's still this far down from 10 years ago. So that's demonstrated there, and they do have a highly interactive. They've now put all that. It used to be that you would get a stack of maps this big and try to look at each one. Now it's interactive and on their internet page, website, to look at all those, and you can make your own numbers as far as years and you don't get to create your answers, okay? But you do get to put in a year or something and then stretch it out 10 years and watch it go up and down depending on it. And I said, that's the main, they also cover the 300 wells. And a lot of it is in Harris County. And I said, you can definitely see where the city of Houston and all of Harris, Galveston has been converted. And it's all blue on these maps showing that there's been a rise and a cessation of subsidence. And then again, where they're going to go with their pipes now to northwest, to the north, the rest of the northwest region, that area is still dropping. And so that's, you should then see the turnaround in 2025 when they deliver surface water to that area.
Did they have any data regarding land surface elevations in that?
Well, yeah,
Ground, or, so in addition to groundwater static well levels, they talk about.
they talk about the extensometers and the showing of what's going on with well, including ours. I mean, they also know the answers to the one on Research
The
Forest.
PAM sites.
Yeah,
And the
PAM sites.
elevations
And then
there.
all their own extensometers. It's on, and not everything's covered, but it's pretty much a good summary. And if everything works, it should be posted on the
Do
Woodland.
you
Green web.
remember any data from around the Conroe Airport area that PAM site up there?
No, I haven't seen those sites, the ones that we had on the east side of 45. We had one down, well, from Kingwood on up to that one by the airport. But I don't know, they didn't show that specific
Okay.
PAM unit.
Any charts, graphs, handouts that you wanted to
didn't- I
bring
don't
maybe
have
next
any,
time?
I can try that. Yeah, I'll try to do that. I'll get some of those slides. That was the thing I was really trying to get, that if we couldn't show the whole video, could we at least get some of those?
Yeah, you want
Slides.
to cherry pick a
I'll
few
do
of the
that.
best ones?
I'll do that.
Maybe,
I think Jason, let me do that now that they're declared public.
put the website address on there so we can go.
Woodlandsgreen.org.
Okay.
And it just there's a place called lectures. This Thursday, we're having a lecture on Galveston Bay report card. And then I've asked them not to put it on the website till that one's done because it's on Thursday. I want to get that out of the way. But also we'll try to get a package of slides that show some of those major changes.
You get any press coverage for your Woodlands Green, do you?
Not much. I try. They haven't been doing any stories on it lately, but we do get some good coverage from Impact as far as the events that are coming up and advertising. So I'm sorry you got to hear that twice.
It was spellbinding. Thank you.
That was my goal.
Excellent. Appreciate it. Okay, that brings us to our attorney's report and Katie Blasio.
Yes, I'm filling in today again. I guess I saw y'all a couple months ago. Brian has been on a fundraiser all day today, so I've been doing the Woodlands for him today. But he is sorry he couldn't be here. But I don't have anything specific for the attorney's report today.
But you
But I
want to
do
tell us
have
about
my-
number 12.
Yes, so the eminent domain report is an annual administrative item that we prepare for the district and file on your behalf. It's due to the Texas Comptroller of Public Accounts by February 1 of each year. And just the reason why we have to do this report, I think Yeah, we do have the Texas Government Code section in here, 2206. It just states that political subdivisions with the power of eminent domain have to file this report each year. And it contains a variety of information, but some of it is just what did you exercise that power throughout the year, or did you not? So we'll put that together for you if we just get that a motion to authorize us to do so.
I motion that we make that authorization for our attorneys.
So move.
Would you like to second it?
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
I assume this should be already on our funding plan. We see you do it every
In
year.
the budget.
In budget,
the
yeah.
Budget, yeah, and it really is, I think it's mainly the staff who puts it together, the paralegals, and then there's a partner who reviews it. But we do it for all of our districts, so it's kind of a
Okay, item 13, receive information on merchant service fees and consider the option of passing that on. Are we gonna go there today? Or?
I'll just take it briefly. It's in your trustee summary, but we had a request to have it as an agenda item at the trustee meeting. And collectively, the fees, credit cards fees, merchant service fees, there's a whole host of categories, has grown to be a big number over the years. It's in the $500,000 range, all the 10 MUDs collectively. There's a desire to look at that and consider offsetting some of that expense with the customers that utilize it. So the ad hoc committee was formed with a budget audit committee, look at some options. I think I got the kind of the impression that that's not going to happen for a couple of months, certainly not during the Thanksgiving or Christmas break, but sometime after that, come back to the trustees with a couple of options to be considered by the MUDs, because we really need all MUDs to pick something in uniform rather than different options for different MUDs. That would be impossible to administer.
We were concerned that some payment systems, are subsidized more by, customers broadly. Some people pay no fee at all. Some people pay, 1%. Some people pay as much as 4%. And so we want to make it fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced and and try to come up with a strategy to push the customers to the more affordable option.
Yes.
Rather than others that cost more.
Right. Or they may end up paying more of that.
That's right.
Than they have.
So, and you see this trend, if you go on any of the other utilities websites to make payments, they'll typically charge you a fee, convenience fee. Even some restaurants are adding credit cards or convenience fees to their tabs. I think that, and I've made the comment, I think the credit card companies created this monster. They kept offering more rewards and more this, more that, and then, but it's really, the merchants are paying for that.
They got more 3% cuts than what we
Yeah.
bought, right? I've tried to figure out who makes the money on a Snickers at use a vending machine with a credit card. Now you go to a road, at the highway stop, and you can get a Snickers with a credit card. That's got to be a margin, right?
Really? Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Not
anyway,
that I
that's
eat.
the world we're in. So we'll have the ad hoc committee look at it and come back sometime after January 1.
Put Snickers on the next month's agenda.
Well, I don't want to say that I ate Snickers. I was example.
You're just hypothetical. I got you. Okay. Good. All right, Jim. Well, you still have the floor for item 14.
Okay, report from the trustee meeting, Arthur Breedhoff, who is the Woodlands Water Agency rep on Region H, gave a nice activity summary of that group and his activities there. Also reported that I was asked to talk to the RE/MAX Realtor Group here in the Woodlands. They had seen the news stories from the U of H press release, had some concerns. So my message to that group was that in the Woodlands, well, first of all, subsidence is well documented around the region. It is real, but since 2016, when we started supplementing our water supply with surface water, we've done a tremendous amount to mitigate subsidence in the woodlands. And that the data is supporting that. And with a 50-50 blend for the next fiscal year, that even should improve more. But I would be their resource if they needed additional information, and happy to make that presentation. Grogan's Point Resident Association has asked me to attend a special meeting of theirs in December. Ed Shackelford is going to present or attend with me. I'm sure a lot of that discussion will be around the U of H report and other water or drainage activities. I also reported that our staff attended a Sterling Ridge Village Association function and a Cochran's Crossing Village Association function on Saturday and Sunday of October the 22nd and the 23rd. Had a booth and handouts for the attendees, and always nice to make and be a presence and attend those functions. We did have a request to do a summary of our AMI project, which in your packet, there is a couple of documents that highlight some of the I guess the benefits we've seen from that, some we've projected. The reduced meter rereads is certainly a big benefit. We've eliminated or had not to fill. We didn't eliminate, we just chose not to fill 2 vacant positions in customer service because of what we predict is going to be reduced work orders due to the AMI meters. And anyway, if you got questions about that document, let me know. Happy to answer those. Then December the 12th, our audit committee will be meeting with Woodlands Water Agency staff and the San Jacinto River Authority staff and financial advisors to talk about critical infrastructure renewal, bond funding of those renewed facilities, and how that may impact retail water bills going forward. So I look forward to information coming from that meeting. And then last but not least, 2 compliment emails in your packet, one for me and one for another employee. Always nice to get those and share them with the directors. That concludes my report.
All right, and item 15, just to add on regarding the 15 meeting, we did get a visit from John Yours, local resident of the Woodlands, who's going to be on the Lone Star Groundwater Control Board, along with Mr. Ridgway. I forget his first name.
James.
Ridgway win?
No,
No,
he came here to talk, I think, but
Yeah.
he didn't. win.
He didn't win it.
Mr.
Right.
Yours did.
So anyway, at least we have one friendly
That's right.
person on the board that will hopefully see things from our perspective. On that AMR, a lot of people were stunned to see that the final cost for the project was to the penny what the bid was. So there was no cost overrun. I think it may have, I don't even know about the time. If it did overrun, it was just for those handful of extra meters that didn't.
and those were actually paid for out of our operating inventory expense. So that,
I mean, the timing wise, it may have gone a little bit longer because we ran out of meters.
this supply chain.
There was
delays, labor delays.
out of thousands, we were like 50 meters or 100 meters.
Right.
Yeah, it took a little bit longer to finish.
Maybe.
Yeah. But overall, so far, very successful projects.
Yes.
Everybody would.
But the contract was structured where change orders were not expected. I mean, that's the way it was set up. It was all inclusive, one fee, one cert for a combined service. So
That was
it worked out well.
It worked. Yeah,
Worked well.
good job. Okay. Any reason to go to closed session, anybody? No? Sixteen and 17. Any items for placement on future?
December meeting.
Yeah, we've had, I guess, all the mud districts up to yours today, because Christmas is the week of the mud meetings in December, have chosen to defer a mud meeting in December unless something comes up from an operational standpoint where it's really needed. They're going on record as not planning to meet in December. With,
We have to vote on that.
at this point, just make the decision. I mean,
You're the decider.
I prefer to defer
Me too.
to January unless we
it's-
need to meet.
in the event something comes up where one or more muds, it's necessary, we would let you know.
I have something on that day, so if we don't need to meet, then
It's the 20th we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Yes.
just thinking about a different day.
Have been past practice, December
Yeah,
meeting.
when Christmas is the week of the meetings, it has been the past practice. It's been quite a few years since it's fallen that close,
What
but
about the trustee meeting? We're still gonna have.
we're
that.
still having the trustee meeting, yeah.
That would be on the 14th, right?
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
So I don't care as much, but I'm fine with deferring.
Yeah.
It's the other one I was thinking of. I had a conflict with. All's okay. Brad, any strong feelings one way or the other?
No, I just, the strategic plan recap then needs to be, make sure we don't slide that anymore. We get that
Right.
in January, early January.
We will, assuming that, yeah, everybody agrees, we'll send out a notice of poll to see what day in early January. It'll probably be the option will be after hours like it was, so we can get more attendance. But it would be early January.
Pick a night for the weather cooperative.
Good luck. All right. Anything else for the agenda or tonight? Meeting's adjourned.